how do you have the time? Like, you guys are like,
We don't sleep.
Your Google sheet is insane. You showed me at lunch. I'm like, holy, you think you're organized?
Everything is as simple as it sounds.
welcome back to part 3 with Jose and Andres. Parts 1 and 2 were absolutely amazing. A ton of good content. With that, let's get into it.
So I know you guys are both involved kind of in your own side passions, projects outside of real estate. So I kind of want to dive into that for a second. Andres, I know when we got lunch last week, you started talking about a book you're writing.
Yes.
Where are you at with that?
So I almost done with the book. It's gonna be a book when I cut all the BS, all the fluffs, all the nonsense. It's gonna go straight to if you want to buy your first, second, or third property. I also talk about mindset. I'm a big as a coach, a tennis coach. I'm a big mindset. I have to overcome a lot of adversities in life. Like, you know, we were talking about how you started, but like I came to this country with like $492. So I almost was homeless for like a day or two. And for me, you have to, you know, I had to talk about mindset and how we can, you know, deal with analysis by paralysis. I'm really good at that. So this book is dedicated to the people that like want to buy their first deal, but can process a lot of information. It's super, the lingo is super simple. And it's going to be called Born to Retire Young.
Born to Retire Young.
that.
You guys sharing the title for the first time here. This is the first time. This guy doesn't even know the title.
No kidding.
Born to Retire Young.
Born to Retire Young.
I like that.
And basically, it's a book for you to obviously buy rentals. I talk about flipping there. And what is the steps for you to reach financial freedom? We have both reached it. So just want to, share my
Good
journey.
stuff. It'll be available on Amazon,
Yes.
Kindle.
So it will be available on Amazon. You can go Kindle. You can do audiobook. You can do. It's gonna be translated in Spanish as well. And for the people that pre-order the book, I'm gonna launch a lot of bonuses. So I'm very excited about that.
Nice.
Awesome. That's
Yeah.
incredible.
That's awesome, man. First of all, let me say a side note on his book, that if I'm not the first one to read it, we might not have our partnership.
Yeah, you owe it to him, right?
For sure.
So myself, since, like I said before, since I was very young, I've been working and doing the entrepreneurship thing. In high school, actually, my first entrepreneur thing that I did. I don't know if you guys remember back in 2000 when you could buy those fake Jordans from China. The Jordan was actually like making the layup instead of dunking. I was selling those in high school. I got into vitamin selling in high school. I mean, I was doing all sorts of things. So fast forward to today, I've been involved in a couple of different businesses. So I'm part of a business where we actually offer small business consulting to small businesses. So I have a big network of small business owners that I work with. And we offer everything from small solutions to POS solutions, credit card processing, everything inclusive in that. I've been involved in the restaurant business. What I like to do now is I invest in small businesses, try to develop them, and then either sell them or duplicate them if I can. So I've done that twice already, and this is the third business that I'm doing. So I did that with a restaurant back in 2019. Then we built a wholesale food business for desserts, and we were wholesaling desserts in pretty much almost the tri-state area. So we did Mass, Rhode Island, Connecticut, and New Jersey, and New York. So we did that for a while, and I sold that business back in 2021. And now we just started a new business, which is going to be the first location for what we hope to become a franchise of healthy food. So it's a place where everything that we use is natural ingredients, no hormones, no antibiotics, no pesticides. All of our recipes are made from fresh and scratch ingredients over all of our sauces. And the whole point of it is to bring health to your body by what you put into your body. So we just started that. The restaurant actually just opened up 2 weeks ago.
Congrats.
Yeah, it's really good.
What's it called?
So it's called Marjoram Fresh Kitchen. Marjoram Fresh Kitchen. We just opened up in East Haven.
Wow.
Get your ass up here in West Hartford.
That's it. We'll be up here soon. We got to get this first one off the ground. And then at a personal level, which is very dear to me, actually yesterday, we just got the paperwork approved. So I opened up a foundation in the Dominican Republic, where I'm from. So I came here when I was 12 years old, and my dad actually passed away last year.
Sorry.
Thank you. And I decided to do a foundation after his name over there. And one of the things that was very close to me was, I mean, we've been through so many struggles. We come from very humble beginnings, when we came to this country. And even with the struggles that we were having, whenever we went back to the Dominican Republic, we would always try to bring toys and clothes for the kids. So my dad and I kind of did that together. And to honor his name, now we created a foundation where everything's focused on education. How do we bring resources to kids to excel in their education? We started last year. We donated about 60 book bags to kids with everything they needed for school. We just started the rebuild of a school down in Dominican Republic. We did the electrical and roofing last year, and this year we're going to build new bathrooms.
Damn.
Wow.
How do you do it all, man?
Dude,
Congrats.
My question to you guys is like, how do you have the time? You guys are like,
We don't sleep.
Congrats. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's
I would
amazing.
say, like, in addition, I don't want to cut off for the amazing foundation. I'm donating 100% of my books earnings to Jose's foundation.
Thank
I'm
you.
so proud of that.
Yeah.
And guys, like, if you guys have clothes and
Yes.
stuff, reach out to him, to Jose, because there's a lot of kids in need. And the truth is, like, I think the way that we do it, I'm a very try to do like a very efficient guy. I'm a very like systematic guy. So like I own a tennis instructor business where we teach almost 50 kids per week, and all that, and I spend like 4 hours with my kid every day with my son. And all that is because we have, we can talk about the management side of, how we manage all the properties and all that. But it's all about like, taking the time and taking the work to do it one time and letting it roll, letting other people manage, your business. So I'm getting better at that. We're not 100% like automatized in our business, but we're getting there.
Can we dig into some things that you guys use, some systems that you employ, whether it's apps or your programs or?
So you want to take that?
Yeah, sure. And I tell you, like you were saying, as far as a partnership, what strengths and weaknesses we have, right? And this is for sure a strength of Andres, which, I'm grateful for, and I've been learning from him when it comes to that, because I'm the type of guy where I'm like, work. It has to get done, I get it done. You know what I mean? It's always been like that with me. Like, I don't like to rely on people. I say, hey, we got to get this done. If I make a phone call and I can't get it done, let me just get it done myself. It's always been that mentality, but I shift that mentality to, hey, let's delegate, let's create systems and make things more efficient, right? So now, with everything that we have going on, don't get me wrong, still tons of hours, very early mornings, late nights, especially, with kids. Like, he has a kid that's 9 months old. I have a 2-year-old and a month and a half old now. So we don't sleep. We don't sleep.
Wow.
But, back to the mindset, I think one of the keys to a successful life is you have to tap into your full potential. Unless you push yourself to your full potential, you never find out what your full potential really is. And the only way to do it is put it in the work. You have to put in the work and see what you can actually do with the resources you have. So when it comes to the managing on our side for the real estate piece of things, we do have a team, an amazing team. We have amazing team members. We have one person that's the main person that communicates with tenants, who coordinates with contractors when it comes to the managing. We do have an in-house bookkeeper too, who handles all the finances and accounting of the business. And we also have another team member who handles showings, who handles in-person things like when inspections have to happen and someone has to be there, when we have to do showings for our tenants, when we have vacancies. So we do have those pieces, which allows us to focus on what most important, which is growing the business. So as far as the management piece, those team members are huge. We couldn't do what we're doing without them.
100%.
We could not be where we are.
Are those virtual?
No, they're in person. They're right here in Connecticut.
And
they're part-time.
They're part-time, yeah.
Do you guys have like an office, or they just work from home?
No, so it's all remote because in reality, everything they do could be done remotely.
Right.
Eventually, though, I think that's one of the things. Next step for us as we get bigger, where we can actually have a team in house with an office. But as at the stage that we are now, which between the two of us, we have close to about 50 units, give or take, between the combination of what we have individually and together. And the systems work great. the team that manages it, we actually don't use any software.
No kidding.
We do
Okay,
not use
we can talk
software.
about that.
We
How
do
is
not
that?
use
Actually,
software.
After our not to cut you off, after our lunch interview, I told Ryan this. He's like, "What software they use?" I'm like, "Shit, I don't know what they use on there."
And not to knack on people that use software, because softwares are great.
Software is great.
Softwares are great.
But I found, I am very, I use Google Sheets, but I format literally everything to make it super easy.
Your Google Sheet is insane. You showed me at lunch. I'm like, holy, do you think you're organized?
Did you show you that count? Did you show you that count?
Yeah,
You did it too?
Yeah, I'll show you.
Wow.
So we have almost. So I also manage about like 8 to 10 units for other investor, which is they're my friend, and I realized like how to make this system the most simple. Like what people do is like, okay, I have 5 units. Let me just go and see what is the most expensive software that I can use. And what happens is they take a year to learn it, and then they realize that it's either too expensive to keep or like not. And I'm like, you know what? Let me just try to do this. And if it doesn't work, then I'll switch, right? I use Google Sheets. We have almost 100 tenants. And student rentals, Section 8, like we literally have everything except Airbnbs, right? So we used DocuSign to sign leases. We use Monday to communicate between us
Yep.
and the things that we have to do.
Task management
Task
stuff.
management.
Yep.
And then we use WhatsApp to communicate between the team
Yeah. And how are you collecting rent?
electronically, 100%.
Like,
Like, is it
Venmo,
Venmo or is it
Cash
something?
App?
So I have it's a combination of Venmo, Cells, direct deposit. We don't collect cash, although you cannot deny an applicant, a tenant that, as a law for Connecticut, you cannot deny if they want to pay cash. But we train them and we try to make them as easy as possible,
Yeah.
and we have never had any issues with that. As far as like how to pay the rent, we're trying to implement. We talk about like having a website where they can go and they can pay rent, but again, like we have no problem. So why like jinx the system, right?
Yeah.
Why reinvent the wheel?
Yeah.
We have some of the properties that I have aside from Andres, I have used. It used to be called rent payments. They actually just got bought out by Rent Ready.
Okay.
But that's a nice feature because you put the tenant on autopay. So it automatically gets drafted from their bank account. So it's even more out of sight, out of mind. So that's another great tool that I've used too.
wow.
It's unbelievable. Every time we do these interviews,
know.
we're like, we got to implement this and this and this.
Everything is as simple as it sounds. It wasn't simple to figure it out how I do the Google Sheets, but it's super simple now. Me and Jose spend an hour tops every week, and we manage almost 100 tenants.
So
Okay,
the tenant calls, I have to ask. So that's we're gonna shift to bringing property management in house. We manage a few of our buildings, but one of them's like a triple net. Trinity Health is a tenant, single condo actually. We manage the building we're in today, but we have third party property management in other places in Connecticut. And I keep coming like we have everything in order except for the tenant calls. Like, how do you handle tenant calls?
Let me tell you one thing, and to anyone to listen to your podcast is structure your business, even if you have 1 unit, structure your business as if you had 100 or 1,000 units. I'm going to tell you something real funny that I did when I first started this. So when I first started this, I only had maybe 6 units. I maybe had a duplex and a triplex. And what I did is I had a Google Voice number for my tenants' calls, right? And what I will do, this is funny, what I will do is you use an app that will change your voice. And when a tenant will call, I will act like I was the secretary of the company.
Oh my
I will
God.
act like I was the secretary of the company and say, hey, thank you for calling Circle Management. What are you calling for? And I will take the message and I will say, okay, great. One of our managers will get back to you within 24 hours. So that's the way I did it from the beginning.
No, I love that.
You still do that today?
No, I don't do that anymore. But that's,
It's important to create that separation.
You have to.
You cannot be the owner, the shot caller.
can't.
You will get
You can't.
stomped on.
Yeah.
No, listen,
You
when I used to self-manage, when I lived in the properties, no one knew that I owned them. I was like the management person that was hired by the company. So when I had to implement a policy or a rule, I was like, I'm sorry, you know, it's not me. And if it was me, I will let it slide, but I got to respond to my boss.
Yeah.
You
I've done
know,
the same
blame it on the
thing.
boss.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Yep.
So
Make somebody else accountable.
that's
yeah.
how we structure it. And now the way that we do it now is all through email. So we do have that phone number for that one team member in case of an emergency.
Yeah.
But, and it hasn't been easy because sometimes we buy properties and then you have to train those tenants that have come with very bad habits and you have to train them. And that's, to be honest, is one of the toughest things right now when it comes to managing, training tenants that we didn't actually accept ourselves.
Right. Yeah.
We take them from somewhere else, but we training them. It takes a while, but eventually they get it. So a maintenance, they have to email a picture of the maintenance request, their address, and a message, and they know that unless it's an emergency, a response will be within 24 business hours.
Yeah.
So one of your team members is 24/7?
Yeah, so she checks the emails, and if she gets a text message with like the subject that's an emergency, then she could respond to that. But in the last 2-3 years, we probably just got, like me personally, from my properties, I probably just got one real true emergency, a boiler that just like burst and the water was all over the basement. And like from our side, maybe like a lockup, someone that left the keys, that kind of thing. And even for that, we have a system. We have a lockbox with all of our keys at the property. And we charge them and say, hey, we're going to send someone there, but you have to pay them $100.
Yeah. No, that's perfect.
You know.
Yeah, I think that we train the key to not receiving all those calls, because I think that's the landlord nightmares. And I listened to you guys in the previous episodes. Like I hate. I have had that call on the dinner too, right? And it's annoying because you start thinking about it and you're not present, right? But also, I realized that if I can train the tenant when they move in, then I will eliminate most of my problems. And that's how we have eliminated, I will say, 90% of tenants' problems. We take our time. We say, hey, we're going to meet at the property. I'm going to give you the keys. And then we're going to take 30 to an hour just to go in one by one. And I give them a moving checklist. I send them to the email. And I say, these are the rules. Rent is due by the 1st. That doesn't mean that's the first day to pay rent. It's due by the 1st. So if something breaks here, we're going to send someone between like 24 and 48 hours, sometimes within hours. However, we want you to treat us the same way with rent. And I will say 90% of the tenants that we put in the property always pay quick. There's always those tenants that we inherited that is hard to train because the previous landlords have done a crappy job that we cannot train, or it takes time to train, like Jose was saying. So it's all a matter of not having the expectation, but like train and then having expectations with the tenants.
Yeah. Yeah, spend time with them at first.
Yeah.
That's it.
Guys, that was absolutely epic. Thank you so much for all that knowledge. I think a lot of our listeners are going to get a ton of value from that. You guys are present on social media. We all discussed that. How do we get in touch with you?
So I'm on Instagram and Facebook. Andres Bernal is Bernal. And yeah, social media, Facebook and Instagram.
Okay.
More on Instagram than Facebook.
Okay.
Same with me on social media. Instagram a lot heavier than Facebook, but both are the same, which is my name, Jose Bernard Investor.
Okay.
So Jose Bernard Investor, you can find me on any one of the platforms.
And we'll be sure to link all your, emails and tags on in the link below on the show notes. So yeah, really appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys. Thank you for having
All
us.
right. Thank you so much for listening to Sky's the Limit podcast. We're always releasing new content, so if there's something you want to hear, be sure to comment below. And don't forget, subscribe to our YouTube channel. And just remember, sky's the limit, dive deep, and invest in how you want to live.